What ducked up thing did you do as a kid? I was 12 and tried searching everywhere for porn of children of my age because I didn't like looking at adults. Boy, was I stupid. I did this around the same age. Still surprised no one ever bashed our door down. I thought it would be a great practical joke to bury a corn holder. Small handle with 2 sharp prongs to hold corn on the cob. Pointy side up in my yard and wait for someone to step on it. Of course. Being a kid after all. I lost interest after a time and forgot. Sometime later in the summer. While walking barefoot. Yes. I stepped on it. Duck, that hurt. Learned a valuable lesson about practical jokes. When I was 11, my friend and I soaked a tennis ball in gasoline and lit it on fire and with gloves on tossed it around with my friend. Just cause. Ended up throwing it to him in an arc and he missed and it slid down his chest, leaving an on fire gasoline trail on his shirt. Had 1st degree burns and we really got in trouble for that one. Gave my little brother X-Lax and told him it was chocolate when we were under 10. I knew it would give him diarrhea, but I didn't know how badly. It was ducked up. I tried to poison my mom's boyfriend. I was probably around 11. I had one of those science kits from the Scholastic book fair. I took the citric acid and dumped the whole container into his drink. He sipped it and just said, "This tastes like shit," and dumped it out, lol. I find this even funnier because citric acid is harmless. I think I've actually seen it recently at Walmart for cooking purposes. Friends and I would hang out on a side street with a 1-gallon gas can and a lighter. When we saw a car coming, one of us would run across the street while pouring gas and the other friend would light the gas after he was clear. That's some gummo shit, lol. I was pretty young when this happened, maybe 13 years old. I was in a hot tub with my friends and I thought I had to fart. It was not to fart. Pooped in my bathing suit, so I casually grabbed it with my hand and while no one was looking I dropped it behind the hot tub. I was at some Amway function at a lake with my parents. I couldn't have been more than 11 years old. I had to shit and didn't know where the bathrooms were, so I swam out a little ways and pooped. A few minutes later the tide brought my solidly formed log floating towards the gaggle of us kiddos, resulting in many screams and frantic splashing as they tried to escape my predatory turd. Edit. Just realized I typed this from the toilet where I am shitting currently. Time is a flat circle. In 7th grade my best friend asked me if I would go and ask the boy she liked if he liked her and if he would go out with her. I went over and asked him if he liked her. He said no. Then I asked if he liked me. He said yes. And then I asked him to be my boyfriend. He said yes. Then I went right back to my friend and told her that he didn't like her, but that he liked me and was now my boyfriend. I don't know why I did that. Cha-cha real smooth. In 7th grade, I lit a poster on fire that was hanging on the basement wall adjacent to my parents' indoor heating oil tank. I'm hoping from the lack of follow-up that your house didn't go up in flames. Eat coins. I made my brother and his friends a jug of Kool-Aid with water from the toilet. I still cringe when I remember that I asked my 6th grade teacher what a blowjob was because some older kids kept talking about it. She was cool though and told me. I flipped off people while going for a walk with my parents when I was 5. I didn't realize that was a bad thing to do. I had a notebook that I proceeded to fill with drawings. Each page was a scene like a comic book. It told the pictorial story of a woman getting pregnant and giving birth with graphic detail. Detail according to my 7-year-old understanding of how birth worked. She pooped the baby, didn't she? My cousin and I were like 7ish or so and playing upstairs in a room by ourselves. My aunt left her sewing machine and they're ready to go. We were fascinated by how fast the needle moved up and down when we stepped on the foot pedal. Then we had the idea to see who could get their finger out of the way before the needle started moving. He went. Safe. I went. Safe. He went. Blood shot out and screaming commenced. When I was around 4, I remember my older sister, 8, playing around with the sewing machine and I got curious and stuck my finger right under the needle. I have also tried to touch the fire while she was warming up milk on a gas stove. I was the idiot child who wanted to know what everything was and felt like. Surprised I only have tiny scars here and there and never broke a bone or grossly disfigured myself. My older brother pissed me off, so I pissed in a super soaker. Dominance. Went to the cinema dressed as a ninja for attention. How were you supposed to get attention if nobody could see you? I helped a Jewish kid steal a Christmas tree. He complained his family never had a Christmas tree. I feel like this could be the plot of a movie. When I was in 2nd grade, I said my teacher was stabbing kids with pencils. The others were brought in one at a time and questioned. This did not happen, and I remember the teacher fondly and have no idea why I did it. I guess for the same reason most kids randomly do shit, to see what happens next. When I was 6 or so, I convinced the girl who lived next door, who was intellectually disabled and a couple years older, that I had built a robot clone of myself. I would go inside and come back out acting like a robot, complete with glitchy speech and movement. Then when I got tired of pretending to be a robot, I would tell her I needed to recharge and switch back. When I was 8, I stole my father's nickel collection and spent it on penny candy. Yo, what the duck? Is he mad at you? Was it silver or proofs? Dropped a rope out of my 2nd story window. Tied it to a plastic tricycle. Asked my neighbor if he wanted to go for a ride. And lifted him up to the window with the help of my brother and sister. Then we dropped him. And caught the rope before he hit the ground. It was stupid. But none of us had parents responsible enough to watch us or teach us anything. I used to have a couple bullies in the 1st grade. One day they decided it would be a good idea to strap me to a bench and strip me. So you know what I did? I shit my pants right then and there. They never bothered me again. Dominance, hell yeah. Once pissed on a kid through a chain link fence while my friends and I were chatting with him and his brother. My friend and I ripped and stole pages out of a neighbor's Cosmo that had pictures of boobs. I think it might have been for breast self-exams. We were 10-year-old girls at the time and got totally busted by my parents. That same friend and I got into a different neighbor's trash bags after Thanksgiving and decided to sample some of their leftovers. What the actual duck? Kids are so strange. Hey, we didn't eat ducking garbage, so don't call us weird. I put countless rocks on the train tracks in hopes of derailing it. Filled a super soaker with rubbing alcohol and sprayed fire. So basically attempted mass murder. When I was 13, the blizzard of 93 rolled through, holding me captive for 2 weeks indoors with my family. I was lonely, horny, and hadn't seen a female in 2 whole weeks. I was dying to get out of the house one day when I had one of the most brilliant ideas. I made my way to the woods behind my house. Climbed down into a gully. In that gully is where I made her. A snow woman. She was amazing. I sculpted her out of snow covering the ground so I could lay on top of her. I gave her some boobs, some curves and a hole, and for some reason, a smile and 2 rocks for eyes to gaze into. I removed my gloves, unzipped and got busy. When I finished, I brushed myself off and erased her. Climbed out of the gully, through the woods and back inside to my room and listened to Counting Crows for an hour or so. And never has another woman been able to compare to that fleeting tryst in the gully. I would make animal tails out of paper, tape them to my butt, then pretend I was said animal and run around on all 4s, making animal noises. I did not turn out to be a furry. However, once when pretending to be a ring-tailed lemur, I pranced straight into a closed glass patio door. Maybe that smacked the furry out of me. I used to pretend I was a dinosaur or a horse, you pick the phase, and would run around with my hands bent on themselves, like claws hooves to my 6-year self, and make noises like said animals. Pawing at the ground with my feet. I did this in public places, like bookstores and shopping centers. My brother-in-law recently said when he and my sister would take me on outings that people thought I was developmentally disabled. He didn't tell me what their response to those people was. I don't know if it would be considered ducked up, but my brother and I made homemade darts drum push pins. The pins used to hold dress shirts at stores, and would throw them at each other. They would stick in our skin and wiggle, and we would laugh our asses off. My brothers and I figured out that if you pulled the suction cup off of Nerf darts, you could put a push pin, the colored ones for a cork board, in it and would fire normally. And of course we shot the crap out of each other. When I was in first grade, a girl wouldn't let me in her club. So the next morning our teacher took away her sunglasses because she was wearing them during class. During recess I snuck into the classroom and placed the sunglasses in the girl's desk. Then I told the teacher when we got back that I saw her take her sunglasses back during recess. My teacher believed me. The girl denied it. The teacher pushed down her desk and the sunglasses were there. She got in trouble for not only stealing but for lying about it. No one ever found out it was me all along. And that is just one story of why I am going to hell. There was a kid named Jeff that was a real a-hole in 5th grade, and I went to the bathroom and wrote, "Duck Jeff," on the bathroom door, and a grown-up actually fell for it or didn't give a shit because Jeff was a dong. Either way he went down for it. In 8th grade, in the fall season, my friends and I were hanging out in this tunnel. It was filled with dry leaves. As we sat on the walls of the tunnel shooting the shit, I was mindlessly throwing matches into the leaves. I had this weird obsession with fire since I was really young. I was spacing out just staring at the little flames until my friend grabbed me and pointed out how fast it was spreading. We started stomping on the leaves and the fire just kept rapidly spreading. We looked at the openings of the tunnel and black smoke was just pluming out of both ends. A few other things happened after that, but it ended with my friends and I running away. The way our neighborhood worked, we could see the tunnel from my friend's house without being seen by anyone else. The tunnel had a massive flame coming out of both ends. I can't believe how bad the fire was. But it was in a remote area. There wasn't anything close to it that it could burn down. Not justifying what I did, because it was extremely reckless, dangerous and destructive. But all things considered, it was pretty harmless and luckily I never got caught. It's actually good early on you had a fire scare like that. My brother was a bit of a pyromaniac too, and that never stopped with him until he almost burned off his leg trying to put out a fire he started that grew out of control. Thank goodness he is only a bit disfigured. As a teenager I used to stick my dong in the bath drain while the water drained out. Yeah, no. For the suction feeling. Edit. For those asking how. Upward facing dog yoga pose. Edit 2. To answer a few more questions. No. I didn't contract any diseases. The length of my member is average length in its solid state. There was a grate in the hole. So my dong didn't actually go down the drain. The vortex of the draining water created the suck. From what a couple of plumber redditors have noted. What I did was ducking gross. How in the duck do you manage that? Like, how do you physically get your dong in the drain without some Cirque du Soleil body pretzeling? I took a dump in a plastic bag and hid it in my closet for reasons. Also used to stick my wang out between the curtains of my bedroom window after bedtime when I first started getting boners because the risk of being seen was thrilling. I lived on a busy street. Guess I was a born exhibitionist. What happened to the bag? My parents used to peel apples because kids can have trouble swallowing and chewing the skin. I was upset I wasn't allowed it, and when they weren't looking I took the skin out of the garbage and ate it. You showed them. My friend and I hid underneath the desk during a fire drill in 2nd grade. We both got an F for conduct that day. My mom was pissed. Not sure duck and cover works for fires. Pooped my pants when I was like 5. Didn't want to tell anyone. So I dropped it in the heater duct in my room. House got sold and we moved away not long after. Unrelated. I love when kids try to hide things they don't want anyone to find, and the ducking garbage can is not the most obvious place to put it. I put liquid soap on my siblings' toothbrushes for April Fools because I read about it as a prank somewhere. I took my holidays very seriously. I did this to myself when I was around 4 because we were out of toothpaste. My stepmom was abusive to me, so when she'd fall asleep I'd say mean things to her hoping she'd hear it in her dreams. More stupid than ducked up. This is cute and sad. When I decided I was done playing my dolls, my brother and I hung them on the dartboard and used them for practice. My friends and cousins would come over and we'd shoot darts at the dolls. It was a good time. Edit. One of the dolls had a loose head, so my cousin and I would just throw it violent around for hours. And get the adults to put the head back on every time it fell off. Then we started again. Growing up in the 80s, every time I swore my parents threatened to wash my mouth out with a bar of soap. I got tired of hearing it, so the next time they made the threat I went to the bathroom, came back with a bar of soap, and with a smile on my face proceeded to scrub my mouth with it. Can't make it a punishment if I enjoy it. This has the same energy as breaking all the dishes the first time you're asked to scrub them, so that you never have to do the dishes again. Make sure to like and subscribe so we can watch together.